Over 60 and feel like building muscle is no longer possible? Maybe you've been told that strength loss is just part of aging, that soreness is something you should avoid, or that without a gym and heavy weights, there's no point in trying. What if I told you that in just 3 weeks, using only your own body and a few minutes a day, you can feel stronger, more stable, more confident, and more capable in your everyday life? And what if the exercises I'm about to share are not only safe for your joints, but actually designed to work with your body instead of against it? Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to start building real muscle after 60, without equipment, without intimidation, and without punishing your body.
Building muscle after 60 is not about appearance, and this is one of the most important mindset shifts anyone can make as they age. Because for decades, we are conditioned to think of fitness as something visual, something tied to mirrors, scales, and how clothes fit. But once you cross into your 60s, the real value of muscle shows up in ways that are far more meaningful and far more personal. It shows up in how easily you move through your day, how confident you feel standing up, how steady you are on your feet, and how much control you have over your own body without needing help from others. Muscle becomes the difference between independence and dependence, between confidence and hesitation, between saying yes to life and quietly stepping back from it. When muscle mass naturally declines with age, something known as sarcopenia, the body doesn't just lose strength, it loses protection. Muscles act like armor for your joints, your bones, and your nervous system. They absorb shock, stabilize movement, and help you react quickly if you trip or lose balance. Without enough muscle, even simple tasks like carrying groceries, climbing stairs, or getting out of a chair begin to feel intimidating. And this isn't because you're weak or lazy, it's because the body adapts to what it's asked to do, and when it's not asked to use strength, it slowly lets go of it. This is why building muscle after 60 is about reclaiming control. It's about telling your body that it is still needed, still capable, still alive and responsive. Strength training sends a powerful signal to your nervous system that you are not done yet, that your muscles, bones, and joints still have a job to do. And the amazing thing is that the body listens, even later in life. Research consistently shows that older adults can gain muscle and strength well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond, not by pushing to exhaustion or lifting heavy weights, but by moving with intention, consistency, and respect for their limits. Independence is one of the most precious things we have as we age, and muscle is one of its greatest protectors. Being able to get up from the floor without panic, walk confidently on uneven ground, reach overhead without pain, or carry something without strain may seem small, but these abilities quietly shape how you live your life. When strength fades, people start planning their days around what they can't do, avoiding stairs, avoiding long walks, avoiding travel, avoiding activities they once loved, not because they don't want to do them anymore, but because their body no longer feels reliable. Building muscle restores that sense of trust in your body. It tells you that you can rely on yourself again, that your legs will support you, your arms will help you, your core will keep you steady, and that confidence changes how you move through the world. You walk taller, you hesitate less, you're more willing to try things, and that mental shift is just as powerful as the physical changes, because fear of falling or getting hurt is one of the biggest barriers to staying active after 60. Balance is another crucial piece that muscle directly influences. Balance is not just about your inner ear or coordination, it's about strength, especially in the legs, hips, and core. When those muscles are strong, they make constant, tiny adjustments to keep you upright, often without you even noticing. But when they weaken, those adjustments become slower and less effective, increasing the risk of falls. And falls are one of the biggest threats to independence in older adults, not just because of injury, but because of the fear that follows. Muscle also plays a vital role in bone health. Every time a muscle contracts, it pulls on bone, and that pulling action stimulates bone to stay dense and strong. Without it, bones become more fragile, increasing the risk of fractures.
This is why resistance exercise is so important after 60. It doesn't just work muscles, it supports the entire skeletal system, helping you stay upright, mobile, and resilient. There's also the metabolic side of muscle that often gets overlooked. Muscle tissue helps regulate blood sugar, supports healthy metabolism, and plays a role in maintaining energy levels. More muscle means your body handles nutrients more efficiently, which can support overall health and vitality. This doesn't mean chasing extreme fitness goals. It means giving your body enough stimulus to stay functional and responsive. One of the biggest misconceptions is that it's too late, that once muscle is gone, it can't come back. But the human body is remarkably adaptable. It responds to what you consistently ask of it. Even small amounts of strength training can produce meaningful changes, especially if you're starting from a place of inactivity. The key is not intensity, it's consistency. Muscles don't care about age, they care about stimulus and recovery. Another important truth is that building muscle after 60 doesn't require pain or punishment. Discomfort is not a badge of honor, and soreness is not a requirement for progress. Gentle resistance done with control is often far more effective than aggressive workouts, especially for joints that have seen decades of use. The goal is to strengthen the muscles around the joints, not to grind them down further. This approach also supports long-term sustainability, something that flashy fitness trends often ignore. What matters is not what you can do for 1 week or 1 month, but what you can maintain for years. Slow, steady strength building creates habits that fit into real life, not routines that feel overwhelming or intimidating. There is also a powerful emotional component to strength after 60. Many people begin to feel invisible as they age, overlooked, underestimated, or dismissed. Regaining physical strength can quietly restore a sense of self, a reminder that your body is still yours, still capable of growth and adaptation, still responsive to care and attention. That feeling can be incredibly empowering. Muscle also supports posture, which affects not just how you look, but how you breathe, how your spine feels, and how much energy you have. Strong back and core muscles help keep you upright, reducing strain on the neck and lower back. Better posture allows the lungs to expand more fully, improving oxygen intake and overall stamina. These are changes you feel throughout the day, not just during exercise. It's also worth remembering that strength doesn't have to be extreme to be effective. Being strong enough for your life is the goal. Strong enough to move confidently, strong enough to recover from minor setbacks, strong enough to keep doing the things that matter to you, whether that's playing with grandchildren, gardening, traveling, or simply enjoying a walk without fear. Perhaps the most important message is this: your body has not given up on you. It is constantly adapting, constantly responding, constantly waiting for signals about what to prioritize. When you stop using strength, your body assumes it's no longer needed, but when you reintroduce it, even gently, your body responds with gratitude. Building muscle after 60 is an act of self-respect. It's choosing to invest in your future self, to protect your independence, your confidence, and your ability to live life on your terms. It's not about chasing youth, it's about supporting longevity, not just living longer, but living better. And when you understand that muscle is not about aesthetics, but about function, safety, confidence, and freedom, the entire idea of strength training changes. It becomes less intimidating and more purposeful, less about comparison and more about self-care, less about pushing limits and more about building resilience. It becomes something you do for yourself, not to prove anything, but to preserve everything that makes life feel full.
You don't need a gym or equipment to build muscle, and this idea alone can remove one of the biggest mental barriers that stops people over 60 from even starting. Because for years, fitness has been marketed as something that requires memberships, machines, dumbbells, mirrors, loud music, and an environment that can feel intimidating or unwelcoming, especially if you haven't exercised in a long time. But the truth is, your body doesn't recognize brands or equipment. It only responds to resistance, control, and consistency.
Your own body weight provides a perfectly natural form of resistance, and it's one you carry with you everywhere. When you sit, stand, push, pull, balance, or stabilize yourself, your muscles are already working against gravity. Bodyweight exercises simply take these everyday movements and perform them with more intention, better form, and repeated exposure, which signals your muscles to adapt and grow stronger. One of the greatest advantages of equipment-free training is that it trains your body as a whole rather than isolating individual muscles. Machines often lock you into fixed paths that don't reflect how you actually move in real life, while bodyweight movements require your muscles to coordinate, stabilize, and support each other, which improves balance, joint integrity, and functional strength, especially important after 60 when stability and coordination matter just as much as raw strength. Without equipment, you also reduce the risk of overloading joints that may already be sensitive from years of use, arthritis, or past injuries. Bodyweight exercises allow you to control the range of motion, the speed, and the difficulty level more naturally, making it easier to listen to your body and adjust as needed. This self-regulation is crucial for long-term consistency and injury prevention. Another powerful benefit is accessibility. When exercise doesn't require special tools or locations, it becomes part of your life, rather than something you have to plan around. You can exercise at home, in a hotel room, in a park, or even during short breaks throughout the day. Removing friction makes consistency far more likely, and consistency is what produces results, not occasional bursts of effort. There's also a psychological shift that happens when you rely on your own body instead of equipment. You begin to trust your strength again. You learn what your body can do rather than what a machine allows you to do. This builds confidence, especially for those who may feel disconnected from their physical abilities after years of inactivity or injury. Regaining that trust is an essential part of staying active as you age. Controlled bodyweight movements are particularly effective for muscle building because time under tension plays a significant role. Moving slowly, pausing, and maintaining good form increases muscle activation without needing heavy resistance. This approach is gentler on joints while still providing a strong stimulus for muscle growth, especially when exercises are performed regularly. For people over 60, safety is often the top concern, and rightly so. Bodyweight exercises reduce many of the risks associated with weights and machines. There's no chance of dropping something, no awkward setups, and no pressure to lift beyond your capacity. You're always in control of the movement, and you can stop instantly if something doesn't feel right. Bodyweight training also supports balance and fall prevention in a way that machines cannot. When you stand, shift weight, or stabilize yourself during movement, your nervous system is constantly learning and adapting. This improves reaction time and coordination, which are critical for preventing falls, something that becomes increasingly important with age. Another misconception is that bodyweight exercises are only for beginners, but in reality, they can be progressed or regressed endlessly. You can adjust stance, range of motion, speed, and support to match your ability, making them suitable for all fitness levels. Progress doesn't come from adding weight. It comes from improving control, endurance, and movement quality. Equipment-free training also encourages mindfulness. You become more aware of how you move, how you breathe, and how your body feels. This awareness helps you catch imbalances or discomfort early, before they become injuries. It turns exercise into a form of body maintenance rather than punishment. There's also an important financial aspect. Gyms and equipment can be expensive, and costs should never be a barrier to health. Knowing that you can build strength without spending money makes fitness more inclusive and sustainable. It removes excuses and empowers you to take responsibility for your health using what you already have. From a long-term perspective, bodyweight training supports aging gracefully. It focuses on movements you'll continue to need for the rest of your life: sitting, standing, reaching, stepping, and stabilizing. These are skills, not just exercises, and skills improve with practice. Maintaining them helps you stay capable and confident as the years go by. Another benefit often overlooked is how bodyweight exercise supports joint health. Gentle loading through natural movement patterns increases circulation to the joints, helping deliver nutrients and maintain mobility. When done correctly, movement lubricates joints rather than wearing them down. You also gain flexibility in how you train. Some days you may feel strong and energized. Other days you may feel stiff or tired. Bodyweight exercises allow you to adjust intensity on the fly. You can shorten sessions, reduce range of motion, or add support without feeling like you failed. This adaptability is crucial for staying active through the natural ups and downs of aging. Bodyweight training also reinforces the mind-body connection, which tends to fade when movement is outsourced to machines. When you control your own movements, you strengthen the neural pathways that coordinate strength, balance, and awareness. This cognitive engagement is another layer of protection against age-related decline. Perhaps one of the most empowering aspects of no-equipment training is the realization that your strength is always available to you. You don't need permission, access, or special circumstances to move your body. This sense of autonomy can be deeply motivating and can shift how you view exercise from a chore to a personal practice. When people rely too heavily on equipment, exercise can feel fragile. If the gym closes, if travel interrupts routine, or if circumstances change, workouts stop. But when your routine is built around your body, it travels with you. This resilience makes long-term adherence far more likely. There's also a dignity in moving your own body with control and confidence, especially later in life. It reinforces the idea that you are capable and self-sufficient, that you don't need external tools to validate your strength. This mindset supports emotional well-being as much as physical health. Muscle growth after 60 doesn't require extremes. It requires regular, intentional movement that challenges your body just enough to adapt. Bodyweight exercises provide exactly that, especially when performed consistently over weeks and months. When you remove the barrier of equipment, exercise becomes simpler, and simplicity is powerful. It reduces overwhelm, encourages action, and makes it easier to start and continue. The best exercise routine is the one you actually do, and no equipment training makes doing something far more achievable. Ultimately, your body is the most sophisticated piece of equipment you will ever own. It adapts, responds, and grows stronger when treated with care and consistency. Learning to work with it rather than relying on external tools creates a sustainable foundation for strength, health, and independence that can carry you through the rest of your life.
Slow, intentional exercises like chair squats, wall push-ups, leg raises, knee lifts, and wall sits may look simple on the surface, but when done correctly and consistently, they have the power to rebuild strength, confidence, and physical capability in a surprisingly short amount of time, especially for people over 60, because these movements are built around how the body is meant to move in daily life, rather than forcing it into artificial patterns. One of the most overlooked aspects of muscle building later in life is control, not speed, not intensity, and not how many repetitions you can push through, but how well you can move your body through space with awareness and intention. Slow movements increase the time your muscles are under tension, which is one of the key drivers of muscle adaptation, and they do this without putting excessive stress on joints, tendons, or connective tissue. Chair squats are a perfect example of this principle in action. Standing up from a seated position is something you already do multiple times a day, but when you slow it down and add intention, it becomes a powerful strength-building exercise for the legs, hips, and core. Lowering yourself slowly requires your muscles to actively control the descent rather than relying on momentum, and standing back up engages the muscles in a way that directly translates to everyday strength. This movement doesn't just build muscle, it builds confidence, because each controlled repetition reinforces the idea that your legs can support you, that you can trust them to lower and lift your body safely. And that sense of trust is essential for maintaining independence, especially when stairs, chairs, and uneven surfaces are part of daily life. Wall push-ups offer a similar benefit for the upper body. They allow you to strengthen the chest, shoulders, arms, and core without placing unnecessary strain on the joints, especially the wrists and shoulders. The wall provides support, while still challenging the muscles through controlled pushing and stabilizing. And by adjusting how far your feet are from the wall, you can fine-tune the difficulty without ever feeling overwhelmed. What makes wall push-ups particularly valuable is that they train pushing strength in a functional way. Pushing doors, getting up from the floor, bracing yourself during a stumble, these are real-world actions that rely on upper body strength, and improving this strength contributes directly to safety and confidence in daily movement. Leg raises, whether to the side or to the back, may seem small, but they target muscles that play a huge role in balance and stability. The hips are a central hub for movement, and when the muscles around them are weak, the body compensates in ways that increase the risk of falls and discomfort. Slow leg raises activate these stabilizing muscles without requiring complex movements or equipment. Performing leg raises with control forces the body to engage the core and maintain posture, creating a chain reaction of muscle activation that improves overall stability. This kind of training is especially important as we age because balance is not something we consciously train unless we make an effort to do so. Knee lifts further reinforce this connection between strength and balance. Lifting one knee at a time requires coordination, core engagement, and focus, and doing it slowly enhances these benefits. This exercise strengthens the muscles that help you walk, climb stairs, and recover your balance if you stumble, all while reinforcing good posture and controlled breathing. The core plays a subtle but critical role in almost every movement you make, and knee lifts gently activate these muscles without placing strain on the spine. This is particularly beneficial for people who may have back discomfort or are hesitant to perform traditional core exercises. Building core strength through standing movements feels safer and more natural. Wall sits bring everything together by building endurance and mental resilience alongside physical strength. Holding a position may not look dynamic, but it places continuous demand on the muscles, encouraging them to adapt and grow stronger over time. Wall sits strengthen the thighs, hips, and supporting muscles in a way that directly improves stamina for standing and walking. One of the most powerful aspects of these exercises is how they build confidence through repetition. When you perform movements that feel manageable and safe, and you repeat them consistently, your nervous system begins to relax, fear diminishes, and movement feels less threatening. This psychological shift is just as important as the physical changes. Many people over 60 avoid exercise not because they don't want to move, but because they are afraid of getting hurt. Slow, controlled movements help reintroduce exercise in a way that feels supportive rather than intimidating. They allow you to explore your range of motion without forcing it, and they encourage patience and self-awareness. 3 weeks may not sound like a long time, but for the body, it can be enough to create noticeable changes when the right signals are sent consistently. Muscle responds to repeated challenge, and when you perform these exercises several times a week, your body begins to adapt by improving neuromuscular coordination first, followed by strength gains, which often show up as movements feeling easier and more stable. These early improvements are incredibly motivating. They reinforce the idea that effort leads to results, which encourages continued participation. Momentum builds, and exercise becomes something you look forward to rather than something you avoid. Another important factor is that these exercises respect the reality of aging bodies. Joints may be stiffer, recovery may take longer, and energy levels may vary. Slow body weight exercises accommodate these changes by allowing you to adjust pace, range, and rest as needed without losing the effectiveness of the movement. They also encourage better posture and alignment. Moving slowly gives you time to notice how your body is positioned, whether your chest is upright, your shoulders are relaxed, and your weight is evenly distributed. This awareness reduces compensatory movements that can lead to discomfort or injury. Consistency over 3 weeks creates a routine, and routines reduce mental resistance.
Once exercise becomes part of your day rather than a special event, it loses much of its emotional weight. You're no longer negotiating with yourself about whether to move, you simply do it. And this habit formation is one of the most valuable outcomes of any fitness program. These exercises also scale naturally. As your strength improves, you can increase repetitions, hold positions longer, or reduce support. Progress happens organically, without the need for complicated programming or tracking, which keeps the focus on how your body feels rather than numbers. Perhaps the most empowering aspect of these movements is how they build confidence through repetition. When you perform movements that feel manageable and safe, and you repeat them consistently, your nervous system begins to relax, fear diminishes, and movement feels less threatening. This psychological shift is just as important as the physical changes. In just 3 weeks, many people notice that getting out of a chair feels easier, standing longer feels less tiring, balance feels more secure, and everyday movements feel smoother. These are signs of muscle adaptation and improved coordination, and they represent a foundation upon which further strength can be built. Ultimately, these simple exercises demonstrate that progress after 60 comes from patience, intention, and consistency, not from pushing limits or chasing extremes. They offer a practical, approachable way to build muscle, confidence, and control in a body that deserves respect and care.
Progress after 60 comes from consistency and control rather than intensity. And this idea can completely change how you approach exercise, because for much of our lives, we are taught that harder is better, that sweat, exhaustion, and soreness are signs of success. But as the body ages, this mindset often leads to frustration, injury, or burnout, not because the body is incapable, but because it requires a different kind of respect. Consistency is the quiet force behind real change. It doesn't draw attention to itself, it doesn't feel dramatic, but it works steadily in the background. When you show up regularly and move your body in a safe, intentional way, your muscles, joints, and nervous system receive a clear message that strength is still needed, and they respond accordingly. Control is what allows consistency to happen. When movements are controlled, they feel safer, more manageable, and less intimidating. You're less likely to push beyond your limits and more likely to maintain proper form, which protects your joints and connective tissue. This sense of control builds trust in your body, and trust is essential for long-term commitment. Intensity often creates a short-term sense of accomplishment, but it can also create fear, dread, or physical setbacks that interrupt progress, especially after 60 when recovery takes longer. A single, overly intense session can lead to soreness or pain that discourages movement for days or weeks, breaking the consistency that actually drives results. Small improvements are the true markers of progress, not dramatic transformations. Feeling steadier on your feet, standing up with less effort, reaching overhead without discomfort, or walking longer without fatigue are meaningful changes that reflect real strength gains. These improvements may seem subtle, but they have a profound impact on daily life. When progress is measured by how your body functions rather than how it looks, exercise becomes more rewarding and less stressful. You begin to notice positive changes sooner, which reinforces the habit and keeps motivation alive. This shift in focus helps you stay patient and engaged. Control also allows you to tailor movement to your body's needs on any given day. Some days you may feel strong and energetic, other days you may feel stiff or tired. Controlled exercise allows you to adjust without quitting. You can slow down, reduce range of motion, or take longer rest periods while still maintaining the habit. This adaptability is especially important after 60 because the body's needs can vary more from day to day. Listening to those signals and responding appropriately helps prevent injury and builds a healthier relationship with movement. Consistency doesn't require perfection. Missing a day or having a lighter session doesn't erase progress. What matters is returning to the routine without guilt or self-criticism. This mindset supports long-term success far more than rigid rules or all-or-nothing thinking. Controlled movement also improves neuromuscular coordination. Your brain becomes better at communicating with your muscles, making movements smoother and more efficient. This coordination often improves before noticeable muscle growth, and it's one of the reasons movements start to feel easier within a few weeks. This early progress is encouraging and helps build confidence. When you feel your body responding, you're more likely to continue, and that continued effort leads to further gains, creating a positive feedback loop. Intensity often shifts focus away from form. When effort becomes the primary goal, technique can suffer, increasing the risk of injury. Controlled exercise keeps attention on alignment, breathing, and muscle engagement, which protects the body and enhances results. Breathing plays a crucial role in controlled movement. Steady breathing supports oxygen delivery, reduces tension, and helps regulate effort. Holding your breath during intense exertion can increase blood pressure and strain, something that becomes more concerning with age. Consistency also supports mental well-being. Regular movement releases endorphins, improves mood, and provides a sense of structure and purpose. Exercise becomes a positive part of your day, rather than a source of stress. The idea that progress must be fast or extreme often leads people to give up when results don't meet expectations. But when progress is redefined as improved function and comfort, it becomes easier to appreciate and sustain. Building strength slowly allows connective tissue time to adapt. Tendons and ligaments strengthen more gradually than muscles, and controlled progression helps prevent strains and overuse injuries. Over time, consistency compounds. Small efforts add up, and what once felt challenging becomes manageable, then easy. This gradual progression is safer and more sustainable than rapid increases in intensity. Control also encourages mindfulness. You become more aware of your body and how it moves. This awareness helps you catch potential issues early and make adjustments before they become problems. Exercise becomes a form of self-care rather than self-punishment, something you do to support your body rather than test it. This shift in perspective makes movement more enjoyable and meaningful. For many people over 60, rebuilding confidence in movement is just as important as building muscle. Controlled, consistent exercise provides a safe environment to explore what your body can do, gradually expanding your comfort zone. Progress measured over weeks and months reflects real change, not temporary peaks. This long-term view reduces pressure and encourages patience. Consistency also reinforces identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who moves regularly, someone who cares for their body. This identity shift supports lasting habits. In the end, strength built through consistency and control supports independence, resilience, and confidence. It allows you to move through life with greater ease and less fear, creating a foundation for continued activity and well-being as you age.